it'll be after their review, because obviously there was and you folks have talked to him, and he's been listed as well. There's an additional victim out there at the time that this case occurred that was also menaced or attempted assault with a knife at that point. So there's certainly additional charges that could be pending, and this is about effort. Certainly a positive thing for the community and for us that this subject is now in custody, because this is a dangerous individual. But it's about effort. It's about people working and continue to work. Virginia Greer has been here longer than most of our employees have been here for the duration of this case. So we've had outstanding cooperation from the DA's office, from all the other agencies that assisted us, from the Sheriff's Department, from Ashland, from Central Point, from the State Police. But it is about effort, and it's also about the assistance of the public that made this case happen, because someone gave us a tip. We kept hearing information that he was still around. We kept getting bits and pieces of information that he was here, that he was there, that we just missed him, that, and a lot of the information wasn't valid. I mean, people were calling in saying that he just ate lunch here, or he was just at this gas station, or just there, and some of that stuff was good to hear, and you gotta filter that. You gotta evaluate that information, because there's no such thing as bad info. Just some info is better than others. Today was outstanding information, because obviously the anonymous tip that called us knew of him, said that person had just been seen in that area, and we had enough folks out there that we were within less than a minute we had him, and it's a done deal. So just a good example of what information can do, and y'all can take credit for it, because y'all put that information out there for us, so we appreciate that too.
How many people did you have? You mentioned a lot of people were out there training, and you converted them. How many? Do you have any idea?
Well, I mean, we're normally running a SWAT team training every month with 15 to 16 folks, so you can add that into another contingent, another 15 or 16 folks. So there was a good 30 people that were working this case, in addition to the regular patrol deployments. So a lot of folks out there, a lot of folks turning over rocks and looking in places and concentrating on efforts where those tips were coming in from. So I think you asked me earlier today, were you going door to door? I wouldn't call it a door to door, because it wasn't specific to a specific neighborhood, specific to a vicinity, West Medford. He was actually captured on Clark Street at the railroad tracks. The railroad tracks separate this town from east and west, so you could call that's about as central as you're going to get it. But the search was specific to the tips that we were getting and the information that we were developing. So that's where we're going with it.
Have you had a chance to interview the suspect? Have you gotten any more information from him?
That's what they're conducting right now. I wouldn't speak to anything about any kind of interviews, but that's certainly part of the housekeeping things that I'm talking about. There's things that we have to do before eventually he's somewhere in between here and the Jackson County Jail. He'll be going over there shortly.
How many tips do you estimate you have from the public?
Well, I don't know. I didn't count them, but last night we probably had over a dozen, and those continue to trickle in. So, and every one of those cases we're chasing, and anytime that you chase a tip like that, you get a secondary piece of information. Y'all have done that. You've went one place, and then you get something else, and you keep going. So those things tend to multiply, because there's always someone next door. There's always someone else that was with him. So.
Was he staying on the tracks, or do you think someone else was helping him find places to sleep in El Paso the nights?
I don't know where he was laying his head. That was the big wonder to us, because we seemed like we were always a little bit behind him. But he was certainly moving around, and again, he's in his comfort zone. He's going to places where he knows folks. He knows places where he can lay his head. He knows places where he can, get something to eat, maybe get a change of clothes, do something like that. So those are situations that are pretty dynamic, that are changing constantly, and that was frustrating for us. But still, we're 72 hours out, and he's in custody. That's good police work. The bottom line is that's just darn good effort, and it's all about effort.
Was there any word that maybe he had like somebody who was knowingly kind of hiding him out, like an accomplice?
I mean, we're certainly looking at that. We're looking at all sorts of scenarios. What's he been doing since this happened? Where's he been relieving himself? Where's he been taking a shower? Where's he been eating? Where's he been sleeping? Where's he been getting clothes? Where's he been doing that kind of stuff? That stuff's still going to be chased from this point forward. So there's still lots of stuff for us to do. Obviously, you can't hinder folks if you know that they're wanted on those kind of charges. So there could be some culpability, responsibility on those persons' parts too. So we'll see. We're not done.
Now that the suspect's in custody, can you share any more light on the nature of their relationship in the past?
I can just tell that they knew each other, and they had known each other, and he certainly knew of her, where she lived, and they had been with each other in the past. I can't go into the extent of it. I won't go into any statements or any motives or any kind of stuff. That stuff downstream, and the DA's office will be presenting that stuff downstream too. But there's no happy ending to a homicide. It's a sad case. It's a situation where the hard part for us is done. Now we're going to be able to take care of all the rest of the stuff. It's not, the hard part's not done for that family. The family is here. I believe her son and other family members are here. The son that came from Alaska is here and had contact with us and the DA's office. So it's not over for them, and the hard part's not over for them. And our thoughts are with them. But we did what we're supposed to do, and we'll continue to do what we're supposed to do. And it was a combined effort from a lot of folks with a lot of hard work. And it was again the public helped us too. So in the end, we can't do anything until people talk to us. We can have the coolest equipment, we can have the best training, you can hire the best people, but if people don't talk to us, nothing happens. And we're fortunate that we live in a community where people talk to us, and that's what happened today.
Can you describe the arrest at all this morning? Did he try to run, or was it
No.
pretty peaceful?
I wouldn't call it peaceful because it's certainly a high-risk stop. I mean, this is an arrest for a murder suspect, so certainly I wouldn't call it peaceful. If you would have seen him, I thought, well, this is pretty serious stuff. But I wasn't at the scene. But I can tell you that he did not resist. He was taken into custody without incident. So.
Did somebody spot him in business near there and he left? Or?
He was just seen in the area, and it was an anonymous tip. And this is a fellow that's been around for 4 or 5 years, so people know him, and he's been employed here, and so they know what it looks like. And his picture was out there in a lot of media examples, and so we were getting information. Not only were we getting tips, but we were developing tips too. I mean, we were going around and talking to folks and looking at folks that knew him or knew of his associates. So we were generating tips as well, or information from our side. So there were other sightings that we had missed. We got in front of this one. That's the important part, that we got in front of this one. The timing was right. We had folks there, and if we got that tip that he was on the railroad tracks on Clark Street north of there, and we were an hour behind it, I'd probably still be up there saying we need more tips. So the famous quote, "Timing is everything."
Can you tell us a little bit more about him? You said he's been here for 4 or 5 years. Where was he living before that?
I don't know. I can tell you that he does have family connections in Mexico, but he also has family connections here. So,
How many people were, let's see, you got a lot of tips, you got more than a dozen tips. What made this tip different? Did you guys respond forcefully immediately, or did you wait until the first people on the scene see anything special that brought in reinforcements?
well, on this one, obviously the anonymous tip tells us that he was seen in this area, and they know this person, and the person was just seen in this area. So it's an immediate kind of tip that you're going to jump on that right out of the hole. It's not a situation where someone calls us and said, I saw him last night at Minute Market. A whole different scenario. I mean, it's all based on how it comes in and what the information is at the time. But, good for this one. Like I said, we've had other information. We've had other pieces where we've been behind it by a little bit, or maybe a little bit more than a little bit. So, we've been to a lot of places. Our folks are tired, I can tell you that. They've put a lot of hours in since this thing happened.
Well, it was anonymous, though. It was deemed credible immediately.
We checked it, and it was credible because we checked it, and there he was. So that's as good as it gets.
How much overtime have people accumulated in this search for this?
I haven't even counted it yet. Substantial. This thing started on a Sunday and continued on through a holiday, and we have deployments 24/7. But when we brought the house on this one.
Thank you
Very much. All right, Ginger, you want to say anything? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.